Bankrupt man allows a homeless mother and her child to stay in his restaurant for a week. Comes back to a surprising transformation. In the heart of a charming small town in the United States, Jake Carter, a man in his early 30s with a passion for food and community, stood proudly at the helm of his dream establishment, Carter's Table. The restaurant had become an integral part of the town's fabric, where locals gathered to enjoy hearty meals and warm conversations. Jake's love for cooking was evident in every dish that left his kitchen, each crafted with care and creativity. The restaurant, with its rustic charm and welcoming atmosphere, was not just a business to Jake. It was a labor of love that reflected his dedication to the culinary arts and his community. Despite his deep commitment, Jake struggled with the weight of perfectionism that often consumed him. His desire to ensure every dish was flawless sometimes left him frazzled, causing him to overthink even the smallest details. His staff admired his dedication but worried that his relentless pursuit of perfection might eventually take its toll. Jake also had a tendency to trust people too easily, a trait that had been both a blessing and a curse in his life. It allowed him to build strong connections with his community, but it also made him susceptible to deceit. Recently, the restaurant faced a downturn, with fewer patrons filling its cozy dining room. Jake's heart ached as he watched the empty tables that once buzzed with laughter and conversation. The town's changing economy and a new chain restaurant that opened nearby had siphoned away some of his regulars. Despite the challenges, Jake remained optimistic, refusing to let go of the dream he had built from the ground up. He was determined to find a way to revive Carter's Table and bring back the bustling energy that once defined it. One crisp autumn afternoon, Jake sat across from Lucy, his loyal friend and the restaurant's manager, in the back office of Carter's Table. "We need to do something, Jake," Lucy said, her voice tinged with concern. "People love this place, but we have to remind them why." Jake nodded, knowing she was right. "I just need to figure out how to bring them back," he replied, a hint of uncertainty in his voice. Lucy smiled warmly, placing a reassuring hand on his. "We'll figure it out, Jake. You've got a whole town rooting for you." Her words, though comforting, were a stark reminder of the challenges ahead, fueling Jake's determination to save his beloved restaurant. The afternoon sun cast a warm glow through the large windows of Carter's Table, illuminating the cozy interior where Jake and Lucy sat. As they sipped their coffee, the comforting aroma mingling with the sense of freshly baked bread and simmering sauces, they delved into a conversation that Jake had been avoiding. "Jake, sometimes things get tough before they get better," Lucy said, her eyes steady and filled with resolve. "We can't give up now. There's always a chance for a new beginning, even when it seems unlikely." Jake sighed, tracing the rim of his mug with his finger as he absorbed her words. "I know, Lucy. It's just hard not to feel overwhelmed," he admitted, his voice tinged with a mix of frustration and determination. The restaurant was his life's work, and the thought of it slipping away felt like a personal failure. But Lucy's words resonated with him, planting a seed of hope in his heart. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way to turn things around. Lucy leaned back in her chair, her expression softening. "You know, sometimes help comes from the most unexpected places," she mused. "Remember how you started this place with just a dream and a few loyal friends? We can find that magic again." Jake nodded slowly, a flicker of a smile crossing his face. Lucy's optimism was infectious, and he couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of possibility. Her unwavering faith in the potential for a brighter future reminded him of why he had fallen in love with the restaurant business in the first place. As they continued to brainstorm ideas to rejuvenate Carter's Table, Jake felt a subtle shift within him. He realized that the restaurant wasn't just about food. It was about people, community, and the shared experiences that bound them together. "You're right, Lucy," Jake said, his voice more assured now. "It's time to get creative and find a way to make this place the heart of the town again." Lucy beamed at him, her encouragement lighting a spark in his eyes. The path ahead was uncertain, but with hope rekindled, Jake felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The chill of an unexpected autumn wind whipped through the streets as Jake locked up Carter's Table for the night. As he turned the key in the lock, he couldn't shake the nagging worry that had settled in his chest. The dwindling number of customers and financial strain had been weighing heavily on his mind. Just as he was about to head home, his phone buzzed in his pocket, jolting him from his thoughts. The name Megan flashed on the screen, and with it came a mix of anticipation and unease. Megan had entered Jake's life with a whirlwind of charm and enthusiasm, convincing him that she had a surefire investment opportunity that could turn his fortunes around. Her persuasive pitch had sounded too good to be true, yet Jake's desperation had led him to take a leap of faith. But now, standing in the empty street, the phone call he received confirmed his worst fears. Megan had vanished, leaving behind nothing but a series of false promises and a gaping hole in Jake's finances. "Lucy, we need to talk," Jake said, his voice trembling slightly as he called her. The urgency in his voice was unmistakable. They met at the small coffee shop next to the restaurant, where the clatter of cups and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee provided a comforting backdrop. "She took everything, Lucy," Jake confessed, his shoulders sagging under the weight of betrayal. "I can't believe I let this happen." Lucy listened intently, her expression a mix of concern and empathy. "Jake, it's not your fault," she reassured him, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand. "You trusted someone who didn't deserve it, but this doesn't define you." Her words offered a sliver of solace, but the reality of the situation was undeniable. With the loss of his investment, Jake was faced with the heart-wrenching decision to announce the impending closure of Carter's Table. The news spread through the town like wildfire, leaving a trail of disappointment and sadness among the loyal patrons who had come to cherish the restaurant. For Jake, the prospect of closing the doors on his dream felt like losing a part of himself. Yet, even amidst the despair, he clung to Lucy's words, holding on to the hope that, perhaps, the darkest moments could also be the catalyst for a new beginning. In the days that followed the devastating news, Jake found himself engulfed in a whirlwind of emotions. The prospect of closing Carter's Table hung over him like a storm cloud, casting a shadow on every waking moment. As he walked through the restaurant, the familiar clatter of pots and pans now felt like a distant echo, a reminder of the life he had built and was about to lose. Each step felt heavier than the last, burdened by the weight of uncertainty and regret. In the quiet solitude of his office, Jake wrestled with a barrage of doubts. "How could I have been so naive?" he muttered to himself, frustration simmering beneath the surface. The responsibility he felt towards his employees, who had become like family, was a constant reminder of the consequences of his misjudgment. Jake's thoughts were a tumultuous sea of self-recrimination and the looming fear of letting everyone down. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lucy found Jake sitting alone at one of the corner tables, a place where countless conversations had unfolded over the years. She approached him, her presence a comforting anchor amidst the chaos. "You know, it's okay to feel lost sometimes," Lucy said softly, sitting down across from him. "But this doesn't have to be the end. We've been through tough times before, and we can get through this too." Jake nodded, grateful for her unwavering support, but the path forward still seemed shrouded in uncertainty. "I just don't know what to do, Lucy," he confessed, his voice tinged with vulnerability. "I can't shake the feeling that I'm letting everyone down." Lucy's gaze met his, a gentle resolve in her eyes. "We'll figure it out, Jake. You don't have to do this alone." Her words were a lifeline, pulling him back from the edge of despair, igniting a flicker of hope that perhaps there was still a way to salvage his dream. As the conversation unfolded, an idea began to take shape in Jake's mind, a glimmer of a plan that involved rallying the community he had come to love. The seed of possibility, nurtured by Lucy's steadfast belief in him, began to grow, fueling Jake's determination to explore every avenue to save Carter's Table. Despite the mounting pressure, he realized that giving up was not an option. There was too much at stake, and too many people counting on him to see this through. On a particularly cold night, Jake was making his way home after another long day at the restaurant. The biting wind seemed to pierce through his jacket as he walked along the dimly lit streets, lost in thought. His mind was occupied with potential solutions to save Carter's Table, though none seemed viable enough. As he rounded a corner, a soft cry caught his attention, stopping him in his tracks. Huddled against the brick wall of a nearby building were Emma and her young daughter, Lily. The sight of them shivering in the cold, with Lily's cheeks streaked with tears, tugged at Jake's heart. "Are you okay?" Jake asked gently, crouching down to their level. Emma looked up, her eyes filled with a mix of gratitude and desperation. We're just trying to find somewhere warm," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Without hesitation, Jake made a decision. "Come with me," he said, offering them a hand up. "You can stay at the restaurant for the night. It's not much, but it'll be warm." Emma hesitated, her pride battling with necessity, but the sight of Lily rubbing her arms against the cold made the choice clear. "Thank you," Emma murmured, accepting Jake's offer with a grateful nod. Together, they made their way to Carter's table, where Jake set up a temporary space for them in the back room. As they settled in, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this chance encounter was more than just a random occurrence. There was a sense of purpose that accompanied his decision to help Emma and Lily, a feeling that maybe, in helping them, he could also find a way to help himself. The warmth of the restaurant's kitchen soon enveloped them, and as Jake prepared a simple meal for his guests, he felt a glimmer of hope ignite within him. Perhaps this unexpected meeting was the beginning of something new, a chance to forge a different path forward. Over the following weeks, Jake found himself forming an unexpected bond with Emma and Lily. Their presence brought a renewed sense of life to Carter's table, and the restaurant, once a quiet and empty space, was now filled with laughter and warmth. Emma, with her natural charisma and kind heart, quickly became a beloved figure among the staff and the few remaining regulars. Her ability to make everyone feel at home was something Jake deeply admired. As Jake spent more time with Emma, he learned about the struggle she had faced and the resilience that had brought her to this point. Their late-night conversations, often held over a cup of tea in the restaurant's kitchen, revealed stories of hardship and hope. Emma's strength and determination resonated with Jake, inspiring him to face his challenges with renewed vigor. She, too, found solace in sharing her journey, feeling understood and valued in a way she hadn't for a long time. Lucy watched this burgeoning friendship with a smile, her role as a supportive confidant ever present. She often joined in on their discussions, her pragmatic wisdom complementing Emma's optimism. "You know," Lucy said one evening as they all sat together, "this place feels different now. It's like we've become a little family." Her words were met with nods of agreement, a shared understanding of the bonds that had formed between them. For Jake, the relationships he was nurturing became a source of strength and clarity. Emma and Lucy's unwavering belief in him, combined with their friendship, was a reminder that he wasn't alone in his struggles. "I never thought I'd find this kind of connection," Jake admitted one night. Emma smiled warmly. "Sometimes, the people who come into your life unexpectedly are the ones who make the biggest impact." Her words rang true, echoing in Jake's mind as he realized how much these connections meant to him and how they were guiding him towards a brighter future. With Emma's presence now a staple at Carter's table, the restaurant began to transform in ways Jake had never imagined. The once quiet establishment started to buzz with a newfound energy as Emma began to share her culinary skills and captivating stories with the patrons. Her ability to weave tales from her travels and experiences into her cooking captivated the customers, creating an atmosphere that was both intimate and exciting. Every evening, the dining room filled with the sound of laughter and animated conversation. Emma's dishes, simple yet infused with rich flavors and heartfelt stories, brought a unique charm to the restaurant. Patrons lingered longer, drawn in by her warmth and the vibrant experience she crafted. "Emma, your stories make the food taste even better," a regular customer commented, echoing the sentiment of many who had become enamored with her charm. Jake watched in awe as Emma's influence breathed new life into Carter's table. Her presence was magnetic, drawing in not only locals but also curious newcomers eager to experience the blend of food and storytelling. The restaurant quickly gained a reputation as a must-visit spot, where every meal was an event and every night held the promise of a new story. Jake couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of hope as he witnessed the transformation taking place before his eyes. As the weeks went by, Emma's impact on the restaurant became undeniable. Lucy, observing the positive change, remarked one night, "Emma, you're like our secret ingredient." Jake nodded in agreement, grateful for the unexpected turn of events. It's more than just the food, he reflected. It's the connection, the community we've created here. The restaurant had become a hub of joy and camaraderie, reminding Jake of the power of human connection and the importance of embracing the unexpected gifts life had to offer. As the holiday season approached, Carter's table was bustling with more activity than ever before. The line of customers eager to experience Emma's unique storytelling dinners stretched out the door. Jake watched in amazement as the restaurant thrived in a way he hadn't seen in years. The success brought a much-needed financial boost, and for the first time in a long while, the future seemed bright. One evening, as the restaurant buzzed with energy, Emma crafted a special dish inspired by her childhood. As she served the meal, she shared a heartfelt story about a festival in her hometown, where families would gather under the stars to celebrate life and resilience. The diners listened intently, their faces illuminated by the warm glow of candlelight. The atmosphere was magical, a perfect blend of flavors and emotions that left a lasting impression on everyone present. Despite the restaurant's current success, Jake knew that the underlying financial issues hadn't disappeared completely. The debts from the fraudulent scheme still loomed over him like a dark cloud. He had hoped the influx of business would be enough to turn the tide, but the reality was more complicated. The high of the restaurant's revival was tempered by the knowledge that more was needed to secure its future. "We're doing well, but we can't rest yet," Jake confided in Lucy after a particularly busy night. "We need to find a way to keep this momentum going." Lucy, ever the practical thinker, nodded in agreement. "Perhaps we can expand on what Emma started," she suggested thoughtfully. "Maybe host events or themed nights. People love the stories as much as the food." Jake considered her words, the wheels in his mind turning with new possibilities. The restaurant was on the right path, but maintaining this success would require creativity and dedication. He felt the weight of responsibility, but also a renewed determination to secure the future of Carter's Table for everyone who had come to rely on it. One cold evening, as Jake drove home after another successful night at Carter's Table, his mind was occupied with thoughts of new ideas to keep the restaurant thriving. The streets were slick with rain, and visibility was low. Suddenly, a car swerved into his lane, forcing Jake to react quickly. In the split second it took to avoid a collision, his car skidded on the wet pavement, spinning out of control before crashing into a nearby lamppost. The accident left Jake with a concussion and a broken arm, confining him to bed rest for several days. News of the crash spread quickly, bringing a flurry of concern and support from the community. Lucy and Emma took charge, managing the restaurant in Jake's absence, their dedication ensuring that operations continued smoothly. Despite their efforts, Jake couldn't shake the feeling of helplessness as he lay in bed, grappling with the uncertainty of the future. With each passing day, the financial strain of the restaurant's debts grew more pressing. The insurance from the accident barely covered Jake's personal expenses, leaving little room for the restaurant's mounting bills. Though Carter's Table continued to draw crowds, the reality of the looming financial crisis was never far from Jake's mind. The high spirits brought on by recent successes now felt overshadowed by the stark possibility of losing everything. "Lucy, what if this isn't enough?" Jake voiced his fears during a phone call. His voice was tinged with frustration and worry. Lucy, ever supportive, responded, "We'll find a way, Jake. You're not alone in this. Emma and we're all in this together." Her words provided a small comfort, a reminder that even amidst adversity, he had a team who believed in him. Yet, the pressure of saving the restaurant felt more daunting than ever, a relentless reminder of the challenges that still lay ahead. The days following Jake's return to the restaurant were filled with a sense of urgency and desperation. Despite the valiant efforts of Lucy and Emma, the debts continued to pile up, and the once thriving Carter's Table was now on the brink of closure. Jake found himself sitting in his office, the documents for selling the restaurant spread out before him. Each page felt like a weight, symbolizing the end of a dream he had poured his heart and soul into. Signing the papers was a moment Jake had dreaded. As he gripped the pen, his mind raced with memories of everything Carter's Table had represented, not just for him, but for the entire community. The laughter, the connections, the countless stories shared within its walls. It all seemed to slip through his fingers like sand. With a heavy heart, he signed his name, feeling as though he was closing a chapter of his life he wasn't ready to end. The news of the restaurant's impending closure hit the town hard. Customers and friends alike expressed their shock and sadness, stopping by to offer words of encouragement and support. "We're going to miss this place," an elderly couple remarked, their eyes glistening with unshed tears. Their sentiments echoed throughout the community, reinforcing the impact Carter's table had made on the lives it touched. For Jake, each farewell was a reminder of the gravity of his decision. That night, as Jake sat alone in the empty restaurant, he couldn't shake the feeling of loss and failure that enveloped him. He thought of all the people who had been part of this journey: the staff, the customers, Lucy, Emma, and little Lily. It felt as if he had let them all down, and the weight of that realization was almost too much to bear. Yet, in the quiet of the empty dining room, a small voice within him whispered that perhaps this wasn't the end, but rather the beginning of something new. In the solitude of his small apartment, Jake found himself lost in reflection, grappling with the myriad of emotions swirling within him. The realization that he had signed away Carter's table felt like a punch to the gut, a tangible symbol of his perceived failures. He sat by the window, watching the raindrops race down the glass, each droplet mirroring his sense of defeat and uncertainty about the future. It was as if the world outside was echoing his internal storm. The silence in his apartment was broken by a knock on the door. It was Lucy, holding a thermos of her famous homemade soup. She entered with a warmth that immediately filled the room, her presence a gentle reminder that Jake was not alone. "I figured you might need some company," Lucy said softly, setting the soup down on the table. "It's okay to feel what you're feeling, Jake. This is tough, but it doesn't define you." As they shared the meal, Jake opened up about his fears and regrets. "I can't help but feel I've let everyone down," he admitted, his voice laden with vulnerability. Lucy listened patiently, offering a compassionate ear and reassuring words. "You've done more for this community than you realize," she reminded him. "Carter's table was more than a restaurant. It was a home, and you created that. It doesn't just disappear because the building is gone." Jake's thoughts drifted to Emma and Lily, whose resilience had inspired him during his darkest moments. He remembered the bond they had formed, and how their stories had breathed new life into Carter's table. Despite the loss, he realized that the relationships he had nurtured were invaluable, a testament to the impact of human connection. As he reflected on these bonds, a glimmer of hope began to surface, urging him to consider the possibility of starting anew, fueled by the strength of those who believed in him. In the days that followed, Jake began to notice a subtle yet powerful shift in his mindset. The despair that had once seemed all-consuming was now tempered by a growing resolve to find a way forward. He spent hours at Carter's table, even though it was now closed, drawing inspiration from the memories and the stories that had unfolded within its walls. As he stood in the empty dining room, he realized that the heart of the restaurant, the community, the connections, could never truly be lost. Then, one evening, as Jake was about to leave the restaurant, he received a call from Lucy. "You need to come to the town hall," she insisted, her voice filled with excitement and urgency. Confused but curious, Jake made his way there, where he was greeted by a surprising sight. The hall was filled with familiar faces, friends, patrons, and even strangers who had been touched by Carter's table. At the center of it all were Lucy and Emma, beaming with anticipation. Emma stepped forward, holding a large envelope. "We couldn't just let Carter's table go without a fight," she said, her eyes sparkling with determination. "With Lucy's help, we started a community campaign. Everyone pitched in, and we managed to gather enough funds to buy a new place." Jake's heart swelled with disbelief and gratitude as he opened the envelope to find documents for a small restaurant across town, waiting for a new owner to bring it to life. The room erupted in applause as Jake took in the magnitude of what his friends and community had accomplished. Overwhelmed with emotion, he turned to Lucy and Emma, his voice choked with gratitude. "I don't know what to say," he stammered, tears of joy welling up in his eyes. You saved my dream." Lucy smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "We believe in you, Jake. This is your second chance." With renewed hope and determination, Jake accepted the challenge, ready to rebuild his dream and create a new legacy with the people who had stood by him. The new restaurant, which Jake decided to call The Gathering Place, opened its doors on a crisp spring morning, bathed in the warm glow of a rising sun. The space was smaller and cozier than Carter's table, but it was filled with the same heart and soul that had made its predecessor beloved by so many. Together with Lucy and Emma, Jake transformed the space into a welcoming haven, each corner infused with their collective creativity and passion. The trio faced the challenges of launching a new restaurant with determination and unity. Financial hurdles and operational logistics required their constant attention, but they tackled each problem with renewed vigor. Jake found comfort in the familiar rhythms of the kitchen, his love for cooking reignited by the chance to start fresh. Emma, with her stories and culinary flair, once again captivated the patrons, while Lucy's sharp business acumen ensured everything ran smoothly. The community's support was overwhelming. Old and new customers alike flocked to the Gathering Place, eager to experience the magic that Jake, Lucy, and Emma had cultivated. The restaurant quickly became known as a place where everyone felt welcome, and where every meal came with a side of laughter and warmth. The challenges they faced only served to strengthen their resolve and deepen their bonds, as they navigated the ups and downs of their shared venture. As the months passed, the Gathering Place flourished into a thriving hub of connection and joy. Jake, Lucy, and Emma worked side by side, their teamwork and friendship forming the foundation of their success. The restaurant became more than just a business. It was a symbol of resilience, hope, and the power of community. Together, they had created something truly special, a testament to their journey and the strength found in starting anew. As time passed, the Gathering Place continued to thrive, becoming a beloved cornerstone of the community. The restaurant was always filled with the buzz of conversation and the clinking of silverware, a testament to the vibrant atmosphere Jake, Lucy, and Emma had created. The trio worked seamlessly together, each contributing their unique strengths to the success of the business. Jake's culinary passion, Lucy's strategic thinking, and Emma's storytelling magic proved to be the perfect combination. Emma and Lily found stability and security in their new lives, becoming cherished members of the community. Emma's stories continued to enchant customers, and Lily, now a cheerful presence in the restaurant, often helped with small tasks, her laughter a joyful reminder of how far they had come. Jake, watching them thrive, felt a deep sense of fulfillment and gratitude for the role they played in transforming his dream into something far greater than he had imagined. Lucy, whose friendship and wisdom had been a guiding light through Jake's darkest times, became an equal partner in the business. Together, they continued to innovate and grow, hosting community events and themed dinners that attracted even more visitors to the Gathering Place. The restaurant had become a symbol of resilience and collaboration, showing that even the most daunting challenges could be overcome with the support of a caring community. Reflecting on the journey, Jake realized that the true success of the Gathering Place was measured not just in financial stability, but in the connections and memories it fostered. The restaurant had become a place where people came together to share their lives, creating a tapestry of stories and friendships that enriched everyone involved. For Jake, Lucy, Emma, and Lily, the future was bright, filled with endless possibilities and the promise of more shared adventures. The sun set softly over the town, casting a warm glow that filtered through the windows of the Gathering Place. Inside, the restaurant was alive with the sounds of clinking glasses and cheerful conversation. At a large table near the center, Jake, Lucy, Emma, and Lily sat together, surrounded by friends and patrons who had become like family. The atmosphere was one of celebration and gratitude, a fitting tribute to the journey they had all taken together. Jake looked around the room, his heart full of appreciation for the community that had rallied around him in his time of need. "Here's to new beginnings and the friends who made it possible," he toasted, raising his glass with a smile. Lucy and Emma nodded, their eyes reflecting the warmth of shared accomplishments. Lily giggled, clinking her glass of juice against the others, her presence a joyful reminder of the fresh starts they had all embraced. The evening unfolded in a blur of laughter and stories, each moment a testament to the strength of the bonds they had formed. Jake found himself reflecting on how far they had come, from the uncertainty and fear that had once threatened to overwhelm him, to the joy and fulfillment that now defined his life. The restaurant was more than just a business. It was a symbol of hope, resilience, and the power of community. As the night drew to a close, Jake stepped outside, taking a moment to gaze up at the starlit sky. The cool breeze carried the sounds of happiness from inside, and he felt a profound sense of peace. "We did it," he whispered to himself, feeling the weight of the past lift away. Inside, Lucy, Emma, and Lily called out to him, beckoning him to rejoin the celebration. With a heart full of gratitude and hope, Jake returned to the warmth and laughter of the restaurant, ready to embrace whatever the future held.